Kumusta po OTG friends, and welcome back to our channel. Another day and another vlog, and for today's video we will be talking about buying a car or how to buy a car when you are here in Australia. A very big shout out to our OTG friends, Boss Tomas Vlogs and his wife. They just recently got their very own car here in Australia. And for those OTG friends that have just arrived here in Australia and starting to settle down, I'm also shouting out Chef J, Chef Deban, Jade, and all of our friends there who are looking forward on buying a car. Okay, and if you are interested, please stay tuned. If you are planning to move or you are already here in Australia, you are probably aware that this is a ginormous continent, a very massive country, and it's very car dependent. I am from Asia. I am from the Philippines, where we have public transport like pedicabs, tricycle, jeeps, habal, tuk-tuks, etc. That's why it is not difficult from going from place to place. But like here, distances are very long and very likely that you'll need to get a car at some point. Having said that, if you live in the major and inner cities and suburbs, public transport is pretty good. This includes buses, trains, trams, ferries, taxis. If that is the case, it's unlikely that you need a car. Like me, when I first came to Sydney, I did not bother buying a car. But on the other side, if you are not car dependent because you live in the city, I know some friends that live in the city and you do like to travel. My best recommendation is that you can hire car hire here in Australia. There are heaps of car companies that you can look at. We will make another video on hiring a car next time. This can be per hour, per day, on the weekends, or even for a longer lease. That will not cost you a lot in buying a car and other related expenses when owning a car here in Australia. Now, if you do live in other suburbs and your workplace is a bit further from your home, then taking public transport might be a bit of a pain, to be honest, and in that case it will be much more convenient for you to buy your own car. Also, there are some jobs where employers do require employees to have a car. This could be, for example, for jobs requiring field work. Okay, where you have to drive around and drive to the city or other suburbs to do this. If you are a support worker, you might need to drive your clients around the city to get to appointments, to the groceries, or in that case, you'll probably need to buy a car. And another instance when you might want to have a car is, for example, if you are a backpacker, maybe you want to travel around Australia. What I recommend doing is to get a van. Vans are amazing, and yeah, you can travel around and sleep in your van, and yeah, I think van life is the best way to travel around Australia. Okay, so let's get into our topic, buying a car here in Australia. When you decide to buy a car in Australia and everything that you need to know about costs and what to take for, let's get step one. You need to set the budget, your budget. And now if you decided you want to have a car, you do need to consider how much you are willing to spend, and of course this budget is going to define whether you buy a new car or a used second-hand car. To give you a rough estimate or an idea, the average price in Australia of a new car is around $30,000, 30,000 AUD. And for used cars, you can get a decent car starting from 5,000 AUD. But everything depends on the characteristics of the car, such as the make, the year. But this considering prices, you can get cars from much cheaper prices. On my own point of view, I bought my very first used car here in Australia way back in 2020, and it is a Toyota. I highly recommend doing a lot of research to get the best deal out of these cars. Next step, know where you can buy a car here in Australia, okay? For buying cars, you have two main options. The first one is to go to a dealership, and the second one is to buy a car through a private owner. Usually sell new and used cars, and private owners usually use cars only. My best recommendation is to use websites, legitimate websites, when you are looking for a used car. These websites are very comprehensive tools in finding the best car because they have lots of filters on them. Very well known as well amongst Australians. And another option is to check Facebook Marketplace, for example. But do beware of scammers and people who are trying to get advantage of buyers, especially the inexperienced ones. So just be aware and be very careful. Like what I always say, if it looks too good to be true, you probably should be a bit what you call it, skeptical. So that's an option to consider, but I recommend sticking to a reputable, well-known website. Okay, next step, what to look for when you're buying a car. The first thing that you need to look at is the make of the car, that is the brand. Like me, this is not sponsored, but I prefer Toyota. Hello Toyota. Maybe in the future. Okay. I owned previously mostly all Toyota cars and make, because I have tested and tried them for the longest period of time. Okay. Have a look at the kilometers that the car has traveled, and the less kilometers the car has traveled, it's likely that in better condition. It will be worth more kilometers, the less the life expectancy of the car will be, basically. Okay, another thing that you should look at is the transmission, whether it is automatic or manual. Something to know is that here in Australia, most cars are automatic. And even when you're hiring cars, usually you're automatic. This is the unlikely places, like this is the very first place, or this is the very first time I drove an automatic car. Yeah, but now I went back to a manual car. My current car now is a Toyota Corolla, and it is a 6-speed manual. Yeah, I prefer driving manual car. Okay. Another thing to consider is the year, when it was made, the car size, whether you want a small car or a big car. And bigger cars usually consume more fuel. That's why take a look at the fuel efficiency of the car. And another tip when you are looking for a car is to consider the time of the year. According to some websites, the best time of the year here in Australia to buy a car is between May and June. Because that's the end of the financial year, and that's when dealerships, for example, have a lot of sales and they slash out the cost of the car. So yeah, I guess take that into account when you're buying your very first car. Next, before buying your first car, please do inspect the car, okay? How do you go about inspecting a car? Is I said like before, once you found the car that you want to inspect or potentially buy, you need to get in touch with the owner or the dealership, and you're doing this through their website or contact them. You just contact the seller, you organize the date and time to inspect the car, and usually that's within the same week. You can say, how you going? How can I inspect that car tomorrow or this following weekend? Say the time is 9 o'clock. Yeah, you can organize the time. Then now once you're there, go and inspect the car. If you can, I highly recommend that bringing a trusted mechanic with you. Usually a pre-sale inspection will cost starting from 50 AUD. So you have the peace of mind having a mechanic check a car before buying it. Okay? During the inspection, please bring your ID or your driver's license because you're going to want to test the car. Get for a drive test. Sometimes the owner will sit beside you when you do this, or sometimes he or she will let you drive it by yourself. You just need to leave your ID with them whilst you go around the block and you drive the car. Once you have the car there, I want you to inspect the following things: any damage, tips or scratches in the paint. For example, check the mirrors and check the paint on the roof as well, the glass, because these are things that are very, very costly to replace. So you want to make sure that all of this is in shape. Another very important thing to do when inspecting a car is to ask the owner if the car has been in an accident. This is going to give you as well an understanding of the overall condition of the car, and if the car has been in an accident, you can ask the owner more detailed questions. Another tip is to open all doors and windows and make sure that everything is working. Check the condition as well of the car seats, and most especially the seat belts. Okay, please see that everything is in order. Take all the lights and headlights, make sure that they are all working as well. The electronics such as the radio. And most one important thing is also the air conditioning, the heating. If there are reverse cameras, speakers, tires as well, make sure that they're in good condition. Sometimes during your negotiation, the owner or the seller might fix the issues before you do the final sale, or sometimes it happens when they just take out from the sale value or make the price lower, whichever works for you, both of you. Here in NSW, you usually get the car inspected and you get a roadworthy certificate, and this certificate guarantees or confirms that the car is safe to drive on the road and that they are not a major technical issue. And during that inspection, the mechanic may find other issues, but you can always negotiate with the car owner to have them fixed before you buy and you give them your money. Usually you'll see in the car ads that the owner clarifies whether the car has a roadworthy certificate or not. Make sure that if they do have one, that it is recent. And friendly reminder, OTG friends, that on buying a used car, don't make a decision right away. As I have said earlier, do your mechanical inspection and then go home. Think about it and take your time, of course. If the car is in high demand, make sure that you take a lot of time because someone will come inspect it and make an offer and then you lose the deal. But just have a think and you're not super convinced, just move on, keep on looking. Sooner or later, you'll find the perfect car for you. Next thing is, please consider extra costs, okay? There are some additional costs that you'll need to consider or bear in mind when buying a car because it's all related to regulations and maintenance, okay? So the first cost that you should consider is motor vehicle stamp duty. This is a type of tax that you pay when you buy a car, whether it's a new one or a second-hand one. If you're buying from a dealership, I think some duty is included in the final price. But if you are buying from a private seller, you pay for this one after you've transferred the ownership. The amount you pay for the stamp duty differs from state to state. And of course, another thing is that you need to consider is the fee for transferring ownership. This costs around 30 AUD. Another outgoing cost that you need to consider is registration or regional regio. You'll pay for regio every 3, 6 or 12 months. I mean, it is usually between $250 to $800, something like that. But it varies according to the state and the type of car that you have. Another cost that you need to remember is the CTP or the compulsory third-party insurance, that can be bundled with your car registration and they are both paid together. I think you can do this though in New South Wales, so please do your own research. And of course, lastly, when you have decided to buy the car, then you can pay. When you're buying it from a private seller, you usually pay it outright. Most of them, they are asking cash, so be mindful, be careful. Or there's also an option for a bank transfer. This is a bit more secure, okay? But it depends. If you're buying from a dealership, you usually can ask the dealer for different financing options. But bear in mind that, this could be a bit more convenient. It could be a more expensive option. Buying through a private owner is going to be much cheaper. But the hassles and there is also a dealership warranty when you buy from a dealer. That's why please weigh in your options, which one is right for you. I know many of you are wondering is whether you can get a car loan, especially if you are a migrant. My observation in my experience is that if you're a migrant, it is only offered for Australian citizens and people with permanent residency can apply for a loan. But I highly recommend talking to your bank just in case. Now, if you're already working in Australia, bear in mind that many employers usually offer employee benefits such as an novated lease. We will talk about that in another video, which means that your employer will pay for your car using your salary, and the advantage of this is that you can get a tax benefit. So I highly recommend talking to the your department and asking if they have an already list as an employee benefit. Okay, and something else to consider is that all states are different. All the information that I have provided here is a standard information and standard practices that you usually do when you buy a car here in Australia. But of course, there are specific regulations and legal matters that differ from state to state. I do hope that you like our video for today, and I would like to express my heartfelt thanks for all of your support. Thank you. Salamat po. And if you are new here, I'll appreciate if you subscribe, follow, like, share, and become a member of our beautiful family where we keep it simple and true. Have a good day. I'll see you soon. And God bless. Bye-bye.